What's up, everybody? Got another video on the Cobalt today of all cars. This will be the first video where we've had the same car in two of them. On top of that, this video is coming within a week of each other, so that's another first time for the channel. If you watched the last video, you know that the boost gauge doesn't work in the Cobalt, and today I try to remedy that with a Autometer boost gauge. It's mechanical versus electronic, and we'll see how that goes. But first, let's roll the intro. Alright, let's go ahead and show you guys the boost gauge. It's Autometer. It's pretty fancy. What does it come with? Well, we'll find out together. So real quick, this one is 4303. So we got vacuum tubing, pretty simple stuff. Let's see here. Safety seal. Oh, and we voided it. If you look at that right there. So that's okay because we plan on using it. So pop this bad boy out if I can. Alright, so over here we got the light for it. It's got the blue and green little covers for the light bulb, so I can make it whatever color I want. Probably going to use the red, not going to lie. We have, it looks like a T for a boost line and some fittings for the vacuum line. Here we go. Here's some rubber grommets for routing the boost gauges. We got some stickers. I can see them in there. I'm not going to open them yet. We'll do it later. This cap right here is going to be for the actual back of the boost gauge. When you look at this, this is your incoming boost or slash vacuum. We'll pull this little cardboard out real fast. And this is her. From my understanding, oh yep, this is the piece we're going to use to actually clamp it down in. It's gonna slide into the pod, and then this goes right over the back of it, just like that. I don't know what this does yet. I'll read the instructions and I'll let you guys know. But let's go ahead and jump down into the Cobalt and see what kind of fun we can have. All right, hopefully the fan's not too loud. Excuse the mess on the workbench. This pillar comes off pretty easy out of the Cobalts. There's this little airbag thing, pop it up, there's a bolt right underneath it. Then it just slides out. So now we gotta get the regular boost gauge out. Just these two nuts and she'll slide out. So let me do that and we'll come back. All right, so once you get these two little bolts, these little nuts off the back here, it's a that size, not too bad. Essentially, should, yep. Just pop out, give me 1 second. That's it. She's out. Now, when you look at these two gauges side by side, I'm doing this one-handed, it looks good here, but when they're down in the pod, it doesn't look like it's gonna fit. Now, with that being said, this gauge is longer. Well, actually, it's really not. Oh, but the wire harness will be tucked up in here. So let me slide this in the time lapse. Last time I checked, I'm gonna have to cut this piece out right here. That's the holder. This has the holder on it. Let me separate it. This black piece is the holder, so I don't need that anymore. So let me cut that out, and then we'll kind of time lapse that, and we'll get it in the actual pod. Alright, so the gauge is in. All I did, you slide it through after you cut this piece off back here that you saw earlier. The black piece goes over top. These two bolts screw down. For the lights on it, I already slipped the light in there, put the red boot on it. I just spliced it into the stock connector. Gray is hot, goes to white. Black is your ground, goes to the other black. These two are for the electronic signal on the input. So now all I'm gonna do is run the boost gauge through that, or the boost line, vacuum line. All right, so we got the gauge here. We're gonna install this. I ran the vacuum line. It goes down in there through this little cubby, and then there's a grommet back there. Gonna pop that all in, but first I'm gonna actually attach that goat hose. It goes through this little nut onto that bigger nut. And then I'm actually going to install, just plug this wire connector up, and everything else will be good. So we'll plug that in, then we'll get to the T out in the engine bar bay in a minute. All right, so there's the nut, the actual vacuum hose hooked up that's going to go through there. One more thing quick to note. Whoops, I dropped it. Oh, this guy is in that little right there. You got to pull that out before you install it. So now I'm going to actually reinstall the floor stuff and that, and then we'll get to the engine bay. All right, so once I pulled the vacuum hose out of there, I ran it up. There's a line that comes off the back of your solenoid. It horseshoes right there. And I teed it into there. Fastened everything down, kept it out of the way. So we'll fire it up and see if it works. Alrighty, let's see if she works. I'd call that good. Alright, so one last thing I got to do on this. It's through a check engine light for the mass airflow sensor, so I got the cleaner for it. All we got to do is pop these 4 bolts off and then spray it down. Alright, to clean the mass airflow sensor, it's not actually, this is the throttle body, my mistake. Mass airflow sensor is down in that hole. So I got to pull the tire off and pull the fender flare real quick, and then we'll get it out of there. Alright guys, so after we got that mass airflow sensor cleaned, I found, looking back in the video and driving the car, you can see in this picture, it's only making like 4 psi of boost, even driving it from day to day. So the suspected problem at this moment is going to be the diverter valve, which is that black box right above the supercharger. We're going to get a zoomed in picture here in a second. I think this is allowing the air to bypass the supercharger and not build much boost. That controls a butterfly inside the supercharger. So this week I'm going to go ahead and order that guy, and we will see how it goes there. Hopefully I'll get it in this week as far as shipped to me, and then we'll put it in and we'll come back at you guys with another video to try and build some boost and have some fun with this car. So I'll roll the outro now, and I'll see you guys next week.